Since the passage of Americans with Disabilities Act in 1990, the U.S. Department of Transportation and our transit industry partners have worked to make buses and trains accessible to all. Today, I am very proud to join Secretary Chow along with my colleagues at the Federal Transit Administration to help celebrate the 30th anniversary of the ADA. The ADA was a landmark toward creating a more accessible and inclusive society for all Americans. It established that people with disabilities are entitled to the same rights as everyone else, supporting equal opportunities for all. After President George Herbert Walker Bush signed the ADA, new buses and rail systems were required to have lifts, ramps, elevators, and other accessibility features. Existing rail systems were required to designate key stations that would be made accessible, create at least one accessible car, and ensure accessibility in all future station renovations. Under the ADA, transit agencies are also required to provide complimentary paratransit service as an accommodation for people whose disabilities prevent them from using fixed-route transit systems. Over the past 3 decades, we've made great progress toward the promise of an accessible public transportation system. Today, the nation's entire fleet of fixed-route buses is accessible, and 73% of America's rail transit stations are also accessible. It's a reminder of both how much we've accomplished and how much more we must do. Ensuring accessibility in public transportation is central to FTA's mission. In the last few years, FTA has invested more than $50 million in pursuit of accessibility through several important initiatives. In June 2020, we announced demonstration grants for projects to improve access to public transportation for older adults and people with disabilities under FTA's Mobility for All program. For example, the Flint, Michigan Mass Transportation Authority will expand its nationally recognized same-day, on-demand transportation program for veterans and people with disabilities, supported by a Mobility for All grant. The Maine Department of Transportation is expanding its bus service in the rural Presque Isle area from on-call buses to daily routes through a Mobility for All grant. The project will use technology to fill gaps in service and improve access and mobility for older adults and individuals with disabilities in northern Maine. Under the ADA, America has made great strides toward achieving an accessible transportation system. However, our follow-through must be as strong as our commitment. We must be vigilant with regard to maintenance to ensure that transit station elevators, vehicle lifts, and ramps are all in good working order. And we must focus on fulfilling service requirements, such as making stop announcements, accommodating service animals, and deploying lifts and ramps for wheelchair users to board. On this 30th anniversary of the Americans with Disabilities Act, I want to celebrate the progress we have made, but also remind everyone that there is still work to be done to ensure our transit systems are accessible to all Americans.